Joining us now is Sasan Goodarzi, CEO of Intuit. Sasan, good to see you. So you've got such a broad read on what's going on. I keep hearing that credit conditions aren't tightening as much as some expected. What are your SMB customers experiencing?
Well, good to see you, John. Happy Friday. You know, the way I would categorize things right now is it's stable. And maybe let me hit on a few things. You know, one, we actually see stability in employment with small businesses. In fact, this last month, hiring went up just a tad bit, which is the first time it's gone up in the last 4 to 5 months. Consumers are still spending, although they're spending less than they were about 8 months ago. They're still spending quite strongly compared to pre-pandemic levels. And generally speaking, I would say that when we look at small businesses in our base, those that have been around more than 5 years, their cash reserves, about 70% of them, cash reserves are actually stronger than they were before. So I would say net, things are stable. Small businesses have been able to thrive in this economic environment. Of course, higher costs in general have impacted them, but they really continued to serve their customers and be able to grow. Now, that's at the aggregate level. It's very different depending on the state, the country, and the industry. You know, for instance, construction is starting to bounce back. Agriculture is strong, but we see hospitality is down a bit. And so it depends on if you're if you're impacted by interest rates and the kind of business that you're in. But in aggregate, it's stable.
Now, what about the consumer? You've got the Credit Karma business where you have insight there too. Consumers trading down somewhat. We heard that from Amazon with Prime Day having just happened this week and using buy now, pay later more. What does that reflect about the state of this consumer that's still employed, but perhaps savings levels have come down?
Yeah, we do see the impact. You know, one, to start with, we have well over 100 million customers that we have insight into their lives based on the data that we see. And I would say in the past 8 months, credit scores are actually down about 13 points. The balance on credit cards is at some of the highest levels that we have seen, but particularly with folks that are in the credit band of 600 to 660, they have balances of about $9,000 per person, and that is one of the highest that we've seen in this band for a while. The great news is the job market is strong. Folks have jobs, but they're being far more particular in terms of where they spend, and you can see the strain. You know, when you see credit scores go down by 13 points, that is a strain on the financials, timeliness of paying bills, what they're doing to take out loans. Net, it's still strong in context of past recessions, but consumers are feeling the strain of the environment for sure.
Now, with all this data you've got, you're training up proprietary AI models to deal with financial advice, among other things. You've been doing AI for a long time with TurboTax and other products. How is this different, and how is it going to lead to increased revenue opportunities, profitability for Intuit?
Well, first of all, John, I do believe with AI, and particularly now with generative AI, it is some of the most exciting times that we will experience in humankind. And I feel very strongly that AI, since electricity and the internet, it's in that rare air of the impact that it can have across the globe, across every single industry. And particularly what excites us is, when we declared our strategy 5 years ago, data and AI was at the core of what we declared. In fact, our acquisitions of Credit Karma and MailChimp really contributed to the data pool that we have. And I think, simply put, what we can now do with the data and our AI investments, but particularly now in the last several years with the acceleration of investments in generative AI, we can ultimately be the assistant in the pocket of consumers and small businesses. As you can imagine, as a consumer or as a small business, it is a lonely world. They don't have the infrastructure around them like you and I do. They don't have the people that are doing the crunching of the numbers and giving them insights. And it's important for us to play that role. And I think these are just incredibly unique times for us to be able to provide insight to a small business, what they should do to be able to get more customers, to retain the customers they have, to sell more of their services. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, an opportunity for all of us, particularly at Intuit.